everybody, and welcome back to the Rotary Wheel. My name is Sean McCartney, and I'm the host of the Wheel. I am also the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club here in El Dorado County. We have a fantastic show for you today with Mr. Chuck Pere. But before we get into the show, a couple housekeeping items. First, sad news, our fan club is no more. We had too many people sign up, and we just simply cannot handle the volume of guests. But there is still an opportunity to comment on our show, so please feel free to call the number on the scrolling screen below, and we will get your shows updated as soon as we can. One more thing. I have good news to share. We are the #1 rated show in all of El Dorado County that focuses on Rotary. So congratulations to our crack staff over there. Thank you, Daniel. And with that, let's get into our show. We have a great show today with Chuck, like I said. So Chuck, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Looking forward to our conversation. And so what I wanted to do, and I understand that, what I wanted to start with was kind of just a little bit about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what brought you into Rotary, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of RILA. Okay?
Well, in 1981, I got out of the teaching business. I was taught for 27 years and had an opportunity. One of my better friends, where I lived down in Southern California, said I should try out the Rotary Club, and so I did, and they felt that I could be a member, so they accepted me, and so since 1981 I've been a Rotarian in various roles, one of which was RILA.
All right, good deal. And currently you are in a pretty important role up here in this district. What is that role, sir?
It depends on who you talk to. Our district has a district governor who's resident in Reno.
Okay.
And every area, and there are 13 areas in our district, every area has an assistant governor that helps her with her work, and that's my task this year.
Well, good deal. Well, I know that Jeff, in our Placerville Club, really appreciates your assistance, and you've come up to a lot of our meetings, and so it's nice to have your support.
Jeff's a great guy, doing a great job.
Yeah, we're having a good year with him at the helm, and looking forward to our big fundraiser here in a couple weeks. So let's jump into RILA. Why don't we talk a little bit about RILA and kind of your background with it, and I think the folks will be interested to hear.
When I became a Rotarian, coming out of the education game, RILA was something that was right in my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And RILA means Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Conference, and it's been around since 1959, started in Australia, and was finally adopted by Rotary International in 1971. So it's been around for a while. And it's a great program, and I've been absolutely delighted to be part of it for these many years.
Good deal. So can we talk a little bit about how kids get involved with RILA and what the process is? And I know that there's a camp that they go to in the summer. So can we speak a little bit about that?
RILA is whatever you want to make it.
Isn't that the way with life, Chuck?
Yeah, that's true. Generally, it is designed for youngsters 18 to 30. The two RILA programs that I've been involved with, one in Southern California and now one here in District 5190. We concentrate on juniors in high school. Most leadership conferences or camps deal with seniors in high school, and they come back and they graduate and they don't have an opportunity to deal with what they've learned. So we concentrate on juniors, and this camp is for a week, and they run 3 camps, and we are combined with District 5180, which is west of us. So they have about 180 kids that go to Grizzly Flats conference area up near Portola, and they spend a week.
Have you had an opportunity to go up to the camp, Chuck?
I've been there. It's a great facility. They've been there since, I want to say, 2002 or 3.
Okay.
It was brand new at that point, and I took some campers up there just to see the facility, and it is a marvelous place. It's designed for exactly what they do there.
Okay, good.
So it's a great camp. Youngsters find that, well, in my experience over the years, I have never had a youngster come away from RILA that they weren't on fire for some reason.
Good deal. So they're doing something right up there.
Absolutely. They get thoroughly rotarized.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the process. So I don't know where we are at in the process for this year as it relates to picking kids who are going to go, but has that already taken place, or are you right in the middle of that? And is there an interview, or how does that work?
Different places do different things.
Okay.
We had an interview process down in Southern California. Here, we had two youngsters that came away from a RILA camp that wanted to start an Interact club at Ponderosa High School.
Wow.
So they did that. And since that time, we recognized, and by we I mean the faculty advisor and myself, we realized that we could use RILA to develop leadership in our Interact club.
Okay.
So
How is your Interact club at Ponderosa right now? Is that
it's like any other thing in high school that goes up and down.
Understood.
And we are, we're still vital and we're still organized and rolling along, but we only had one senior this year.
okay?
So it's like an athletic team. When you don't have many upperclassmen, you have a little struggle with leadership. So we are in the throes of reorganizing a little bit.
Good.
But we will use RILA, as I said, as a step to develop that leadership.
Sounds like a little bit of a feeder program.
It is. For us, it is. Yes.
Excellent.
Now, Jeff here at Thompson Motors, he's got 2 high schools within his sphere of influence, and he's planning on I think the last I talked, he's planning on sending 7 kids.
I heard the goal was 6 or 7.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. We send 2.
Okay.
But the process is, I work with a veteran teacher there at Ponderosa, and she and I, with our background in education, kind of have a pretty good idea. We can recognize leadership qualities.
Right.
So we select them. And it's a struggle sometimes to get kids and their parents to understand what it's all about.
Yeah.
But once they come away, both are very enthusiastic about it.
So to build the fire.
Yes, it does.
I was at a training the other day, and they were talking. Can leadership be taught? And it was an interesting subject. I thought.
Absolutely.
Basically, I think that if you're born in an environment that has a strong leader around you, you get a couple points right off the bat, and then maybe if you're gifted from some other source, you get that. But then I think the rest is want to. And so, maybe at RILA is where they can develop some of their want to and get their leadership built up.
There's no doubt about it. It's like any other skill. Some people have it, some people don't.
Right.
You can't teach speed, for instance.
Correct.
But it needs development. And the reason we take juniors is because if you take anything younger than that, they really haven't got the kind of insights they do.
Right.
I'll give you a little pedagogy. Now, youngsters generally wake up their junior year.
Makes
Freshmen
sense.
come in, they're a little bit bewildered. Sophomores, they recognize peer group pressure more than anything else.
Okay.
But when they get to their junior year, they understand that, I'm going to graduate pretty soon.
Right.
And they seem to mature almost before your eyes.
Yeah, big year for them.
Big year. And they recognize their potential. And that's what RILA does. It gets kids to recognize their potential to a great extent.
Super. Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's great.
And like you said, I think the worst thing is if you have talents that you don't use those talents.
Exactly.
And whatever those talents may be, you got to be able to do the best that you can with them. So let's talk a bit about the nuts and bolts. I know you were talking a little bit about a book and kind of the things that happen when they're at RILA, which was pretty interesting to me before we started filming. So can you?
One of the things that this district does that I don't know whether it's done in other districts, but the interesting thing is they use what they call emergenetics, and it was developed by a PhD thesis, I'm sure, somewhere. But it's an inventory that each youngster that is qualified and selected to go to RILA does before he goes to the camp, he or she. And it's an inventory, it's an attitude and behavior inventory.
All right.
It's non-judgmental. They don't try to tell you which way to go or what to do. It just defines your attitudes. And the interesting part about it, every RILA that I've ever heard of or seen, they put the youngsters in families
Okay.
when they get there. And the families are put together so that nobody knows anybody
All right.
to start with in the families. So the unique way that they organize the families is with this attitudinal inventory that they do prior to going up there. So they take disparate attitudes and behavioral qualities and put them together.
Interesting.
That makes the sparks fly.
I would imagine.
And it's really, really dynamic. It really is. And
So do you think that helps with the process? I mean, obviously you think it does, but
no doubt. Then the key then is the Rotarian counselor.
okay.
If he can, with his gun and chair, if he can manage those disparate
Right.
attitudes and get them to, and from day one, there are team building exercises
Good.
at RILA. Almost every day they go through some kind of team building exercise. So when they finish, they are extremely, extremely bonded.
Great. And so every family, so to speak, has a Rotarian who is
Has a
their lead?
Rotarian counselor.
Okay.
And then the format is some 5190, 5180, the two districts that are involved in this one, they use professional motivational speakers.
Great.
But not exclusively. They also use the talent pool of Rotarians to talk to the kids about leadership qualities. One of the most impressive ones I ever saw was a lady that had brought herself up by her bootstraps in the television business.
Okay.
In the San Diego area.
So she had some want to.
And became one of the prime talking heads on the news program
Alrighty.
in San Diego. So how did she get there?
Right.
And that was her presentation.
Interesting.
And it was very, very, very interesting.
So how does a Rotarian, if they want to be a part of the camp, how does that happen? Do they reach?
They raise their hand.
They raise their hand.
Yeah,
Okay. Have we had any from Cameron Park, or El Dorado Hills, or Placerville?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Most of them come from the Reno area.
All right.
Because there is a training that those people have to go through, even as a veteran educator.
Right.
Because there's, you get 180 to 200 kids, bright, energetic kids together,
Right.
and the sparks fly.
Totally.
And you better know how to handle it.
Yeah, you better bring your A game. I'm thinking.
Absolutely. And there are some strategies to learn to do those kinds of things. So it was very beneficial, and every Rotarian that wants to be a counselor does some kind of training.
Great. Well, it sounds like, just a real, in my work, I talk to our kids all the time about, the choices we make today will really shape our tomorrow. And so, we're trying to create a foundation at our Boys and Girls Club so these kids could go out into our community and do good things.
Yes.
And it sounds very similar to what RILA's doing. You're getting these juniors, and like you said, the junior year is such an important year, and you're getting them, and you're really setting them on a course for a great
Right.
senior year, and then above and beyond that. So.
Well, I've got every RILA attendee writes a letter,
Okay.
and those letters come back to the Rotary Club.
Good.
And I've got some samples here of letters, and this one in particular is now, she graduated, she's Filipina. She went to RILA and then went to UCSD, graduated UCSD, and is now a Fulbright scholar in Thailand.
Wow.
And she attributes, in this letter, she attributes most of that to her experience at RILA.
Well, there you go. That's
I mentioned before a young lady who was part of the organizing group that started the Interact Club.
okay.
She went through 4 years as an interactor, went to Berkeley, graduated Berkeley with honors, and applied for an ambassadorial scholar, which is a $25,000 grant for a year overseas, and went to Uganda. And
Planting
now,
some high cotton here,
oh,
Chuck.
this is what happens
Right.
with these kids.
Yeah.
Another one is a young lady. Her letter is very poignant. She had a lot of internal securities, fears, you name it.
Okay.
And Ryla turned her around. And 2 years later, she was the Interactor of the Year for our district.
Have any of the kids ever had an opportunity to come back and speak to your club?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they come back. In fact, I get emails.
I mean, the letter's great, but I think it would be really cool to be able to see them and hear them.
Well, this one young lady, the ones at the Fulbright and Thaler, like she came back this last year.
Yeah.
And we're trying to create, I don't know how, we're trying to create some kind of what do they call them? Buddy letters.
Okay. Yeah.
Pen
pals.
Pen pals,
Yeah.
between her students and our Interact kids.
Super.
But we've had some problems with the internet connection. So,
Okay.
But they come back.
Awesome. Well, we're running up against our time a little bit. Anything that you think we missed that you really wanted to cover today? I mean, I think the biggest takeaway that I have from this, Chuck, is just the experience that these children have. And really what touched me was just the kind of the letters and the fact that it really works. And they really, they go into it with something, but when they leave, they have a little something more. And that's, if we're doing something like that in Rotary, I think we're doing the right thing.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So with that, Chuck, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
Appreciate it.
As always, I'm Sean McCartney, and this has been the Rotary Wheel. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, and we will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.